checks and good hot Ralston presents Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol. In today's transcribed adventure, Cadet Happy is piloting a space observatory while a scientist studies a strange phenomenon. It's an invisible force that completely destroys all matter. Right now, Buzz Corey is in Terra the Fifth, warning Happy to veer away from the force, but too late. Out of control, the space observatory whirls toward the invisible menace.
Happy, can you hear me? Pull away from it.
I'm trying to, sir, but the rockets don't seem to have any effect.
Use full power on your starboard rocket.
I am, sir, but we're caught in some sort of a whirlpool.
Have hit full repeller ray. If you're caught in there, you're finished.
We'll be back in just a moment with today's Space Patrol story, The Hole in Empty Space.
Read all about it. Buzz Corey offers an official Space Patrol spaceophone set to every boy and girl on Earth. Extra!
You hear that, gang? That's right. Buzz Corey will send you a real, honest-to-goodness Space Patrol spaceophone set. Sounds just like a walkie-talkie. Looks just like the spaceophone Buzz Corey himself uses. Imagine, you can talk on it to someone a straight 50 feet away. Let me show you with this spaceophone right here. Calling Bob Raitt. Can you hear me, Bob?
I'll say loud and clear.
Just like talking on the walkie-talkie and the telephone, right?
Right. I call it the magic phone you can carry anywhere.
Yes, sir. See how the spaceophone sounds, boys and girls? Just like a telephone. Just like a walkie-talkie. And lots of fun. Yes, sir. So send for your spaceophone set today. You get 2 blue and yellow plastic spaceophones. You get 50 feet of communication cord. You get a spaceophone briefing sheet. Now, here's all you do to get the entire set. Buy a box of Instant Ralston. Then, with your name and address, send 25 cents in coin and an Instant Ralston box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. This offer good only in continental U.S. and may be withdrawn at any time. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Space Patrol, with its well-trained personnel, has a very high morale. Disciplinary action is rarely necessary. In fact, a serious infraction of important regulations is so unusual that Commander Corey himself insists on a personal accounting from the men involved. Right now, Buzz is reading a report from the Commandant of the Mercury Patrol Squadron as Happy enters the central office on Terra.
Commander.
Yes, Happy?
Lieutenant Grayson's waiting in the outer office.
Oh, thanks. Ask him to come in, please.
Yes, sir. Lieutenant Grayson, Commander Corey wants to see you.
I'll call you when I'm through here, Happy.
Yes, sir.
Commander? At ease, Lieutenant. Sit down. Yes, sir. You have an exceptionally fine record. I've been looking it over, and so far I can find no explanation for your behavior the last few hours.
I'm sorry, Commander.
Is that all you have to say?
Except that I'm ready to take the brainograph test.
Lieutenant, it shouldn't be necessary to resort to the brainograph to obtain a routine report from a Space Patrol officer.
I realize that, sir.
You returned from a routine search mission, 3 hours overdue and with ammunition expended, yet you refused to offer any explanation.
Those are the facts, Commander.
I want a straightforward answer. Why didn't you file a report with your commanding officer?
Commander, Colonel Gregory is a practical officer. He goes strictly by regulations, by routine.
That's hardly a criticism, Lieutenant.
I realize that, sir. But if I told Colonel Gregory what happened out there, he'd conclude that I was, well, space happy.
You're not responsible for the conclusions of your commanding officer.
In all due respect, Commander, in this case, I'm not so sure.
What do you mean?
Something's out there in space that regulations don't cover. Commander, I want a brainograph test so I can be sure of myself, sure that my mind isn't playing tricks on me.
Grayson, suppose you tell me the whole story.
All right, Commander. I was about to head back for Mercury when I saw a meteor. I tracked it on the viewscope to see if it was headed toward any shipping lanes.
Yes?
It was still pretty big on the screen when it suddenly vanished.
Exploded?
No, sir, just vanished. I started after it and checked for fragments. There weren't any. It was just as though the meteor disappeared into a hole in space.
A hole in space?
I know it doesn't make sense, but that's the only way I can describe it. Nothing showed up on the viewscope. I tried both the ultraviolet and infrared scanners. Nothing.
What about the cosmic missiles you fired?
I swung in a wide circle around the point where the meteor disappeared. Suddenly, a black spot appeared on the sun, as though a planet were between me and the sun, an eclipse.
But it wasn't a planet?
No, Commander. There was no planet within thousands of DUs. There was nothing, no solid object to account for that spot.
Well, maybe it was on the sun itself.
No, because it moved across the sun in relation to the movement of my ship. That's when I fired the cosmic missiles.
What happened?
The missiles vanished.
Without an explosion?
Without an explosion.
Lieutenant, that's the strangest story I ever heard.
You don't believe me?
I didn't say that. I think your account deserves further investigation. You should have told Colonel Gregory.
He'd have put me in the infirmary for mental and emotional checkup. I figured I'd get a brainograph test sooner if I risked disciplinary action. And I was right. He sent me here to Terra immediately.
That isn't a very wise risk to take, Grayson.
Commander, that thing in space, whatever it is moving. Moving toward the inner planets.
Can you point out the location where you saw it on that wall chart?
Yes, sir. It was approaching the Mercury orbit on a line from the star Myra. About here, sir.
How fast was it moving?
It seemed to vary, but at the time I wasn't in any condition to make accurate measurements. I thought I was going space happy for certain.
Are you ready for that brainograph test?
Yes, sir.
Then come on.
Oh, excuse me, sir.
Happy, will you get Major Robertson? I want to run a brainograph test.
Yes, sir. Oh, here's a top priority bulletin from communications, sir. A robot space freighter vanished.
What do you mean, vanished?
Well, it suddenly pulled off course. 2 passenger ships tracked it. It swung in a wide circle, then smaller and smaller circles, and then just disappeared. Not a trace on the viewscopes.
Where did this happen?
Midway between Mercury and Venus, sir. On an orientation line with Myra.
Lieutenant Grayson, I think we'll cancel that brainograph test. Happy.
Yes, sir.
Get my ship ready immediately. I'll notify Colonel Gregory that Lieutenant Grayson is assigned to temporary duty with headquarters.
Thank you, sir.
As astrogator aboard Terra 5.
Commander, we're out beyond the point where the robot freighter vanished.
Very good, Lieutenant. Happy established a zigzag course toward the sun.
Yes, sir.
We'll lace back and forth across the line between the sun and Myra. Reduce our velocity to 10,000 DUs.
Right, sir. All viewscopes negative, Commander.
What's our approximate position, Grayson?
In a few minutes, we'll cross the Venus orbit, sir.
This is the craziest search I've ever been on, Commander. Looking for something that isn't here.
It's there, all right. It just doesn't show up on any instruments. If you could have seen that meteor vanish and those missiles...
No, wait. There's something moving across the sun.
A black spot.
That's it. We've located it.
Now, let's be certain. Check the viewscope, Happy.
Yes, sir.
Does anything register?
Nothing except the sun itself.
Reverse rockets while I turn on the spacephone, Happy. We'll hold our present position for the time being. Commander Corey and Terra 5 to Major Robertson at Space Patrol Headquarters, Terra. Commander Corey to Major Robertson.
Major Robertson here. Go ahead, Commander.
Robbie, we're at the Venus orbit, Sun-Myra orientation. We found what we're looking for.
What is it?
We don't know. It's visible only as a black spot against the sun, and it definitely is not a solid object.
Well, I've contacted Professor Jelka for you, Commander. He's aboard Space Observatory number 2 off Saturn.
Good. Robbie, spacephone and all planets bulletin immediately. All shipping is to avoid this sector of space until further notice.
Yes, Commander.
All commercial, private, and Space Patrol ships are to evacuate this sector immediately.
Roger. Well, Professor Jelka is waiting on the 150 megacycle channel, Commander.
Thanks, Robbie. Corey out. Happy switch to 150 MCs.
Yes, sir.
Commander Corey aboard Terra 5 calling Professor Jelka aboard Space Observatory number 2.
Professor Jelka here. Go ahead, Commander.
Professor, have you detected any unusual phenomenon in space the last few days in the direction of Myra?
No, Commander.
There's something out there, now within the orbit of Venus. It's not a solid object, but it cuts off light from the sun.
Well, it's possibly a cloud of gas or tiny particles.
Too sharp an outline, Professor. Besides, things like meteors, cosmic missiles, and spaceships just don't disappear permanently in a gas cloud.
Did you say disappear?
Vanish completely, without an explosion or a trace.
Commander, I must have a chance to study this thing at once. I think I know what it is.
It's got us baffled. What is it?
I call it a cycloplex.
A cycloplex.
I wrote a paper about it 12 years ago, purely as a theoretical idea.
This is no theory. It exists.
This is marvelous, Commander. With your permission, I pulled the Space Observatory out of the orbit around Saturn and head for your present location.
Well, good. No ordinary instruments register it. You might have some that will. Set your vector for Pluto. Where that vector crosses the orbit of Venus, you'll roughly be at our position.
Thank you, Commander. I'll contact you when I'm on the vector.
Good. Corey out.
Well, at least there's one man in the solar system who seems to have an idea what this thing is.
I hope so. But what's more important, I hope he'll know what to do about it.
I've got the observatory and the viewscope, sir. It's only a few DUs away.
A very good time, considering. Turn on the spacephone, Happy.
Yes, sir.
Corey aboard Terra 5 calling Professor Jelka.
Jelka here. Go ahead, Commander.
We've picked up the observatory and the viewscope. Have you located us?
Yes, Commander, but I can't detect the cycloplex. I've used several types of detection devices.
You'll see the black disk against the sun in a few minutes. We'll join space locks with you and come aboard the observatory.
Very good, Commander.
Corey out. Grayson.
Yes, sir.
While Happy and I handle the controls, you watch that black spot. If it moves away from the sun, let me know.
Right, Commander. We're abreast of the observatory airlock, sir.
Good. Stand by with magnetic holding fields.
Standing by, sir.
Corey to Jelka.
Go ahead, Commander.
Professor, hold your space observatory on an even vector. We're going to make contact.
Yes, Commander.
Apply magnetic holding field, Happy.
Space lock secured, sir.
Lieutenant Grayson, keep an eye on the controls. Happy and I will enter the observatory.
Yes, sir.
Open the inner hatch, Happy. Press the release catch in the observatory hull.
Come in, Commander. This is the most thrilling moment of my life.
Professor Jelka, it's about the most puzzling moment of mine. Now, this is my cadet, Happy.
How do you do, Professor?
How do you do? I tell you, Commander, this is a cycloplex, just as I described it 12 years ago. They really do exist.
Fine, Professor, but tell me, just what is a cycloplex?
Well, you might call it a hole in space.
That's just the way Grayson described it.
Grayson?
Lieutenant Grayson, the Space Patrol officer who discovered it. Professor, this cycloplex has already destroyed a meteor, 2 cosmic missiles, and a robot spaceship, and it's moving toward the inner planets. If it holds its present direction and velocity, Mars will move right into it in a few days.
That would indeed be a calamity.
What's the nature of this thing? What happens to objects that move into it?
Well, they are transported into other dimensions, or perhaps into a matrix of several dimensions.
Well, they cease to exist in space as we know it, that's certain.
Yes. For years, mathematicians have speculated on the possibility of many separate dimensions existing simultaneously. I'd like to circle around it and study it some more, or to maneuver the observatory and still manage the instruments.
Well, Commander, the controls are very much like standard spaceship controls. Couldn't I work them while the professor handles the instruments?
That would be splendid.
All right, Happy, you maneuver the observatory. I'll go back to our ship with Grayson. We'll keep you informed as nearly as we can on the location of the cycloplex.
Commander, they're getting pretty close.
I'll tell Happy to be careful. Commander Corey to Cadet Happy.
Happy here. Go ahead, sir.
You're veering pretty close to the cycloplex, Happy. Change your vector.
The professor wants me to hold it on this heading, sir. His instruments are beginning to pick up something.
Remember what happened to that robot spaceship, Cadet?
But this isn't a robot, and the instruments are picking up something. We are on the verge of an exciting discovery, Commander. According to my
Well, right now, Professor, I'm relying on Grayson. He's had practical experience with this thing. Happy, this is an order. Pull away from the cycloplex.
Yes, sir.
Look at the observatory. It's whirling toward it.
Happy, pull away from it.
I'm trying to, sir, but the rockets don't seem to have any effect.
Use full power on your starboard rocket.
I am, but we're caught in some sort of a whirlpool.
Pat, hit full repeller ray. If you're caught in that cycloplex, you're finished.
We'll be back with Space Patrol in just a moment. Hi, gang. Space Patroller Dick Tufeld speaking from the planet Earth. Today I'm doing a man-on-the-street report. Going to see what some of these young fellas here on their way to school think about those 3 checkerboard super cereals, Rice Chex, Wheat Chex, and Instant Ralston. Now, here's a sharp-looking lad. Tell me, what did you say the very first time you tried delicious Wheat Chex, that bite-sized super cereal spun out of shredded wheat?
What did I say? I said,
Enough said, thank you. Now, here's a fine-looking boy. Say, what do you think of Rice Chex, the bite-sized super cereal made of crisp and crunchy shredded rice? What did you say, for example, the very first time you tried it? Thank you. That's good enough for me. And here's another young man. Tell me, what's your opinion of Instant Ralston, the hot super cereal?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
There you are, gang. That's what these fellows think about the Checkerboard Super Cereals. The only 3 official cereals of the Space Patrol. Try them yourself. You'll say the same thing.
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
Get them at your grocer's today in the red and white Checkerboard packages. The super cereals that help to supercharge you rice checks, wheat checks, and to warm up your motor, good hot Ralston. A Space Patrol officer, Lieutenant Grayson, has discovered an alarming peril in outer space, an invisible force that completely destroys matter without leaving a trace. Professor Jelka, an astronomer and mathematician, says this force, which he calls a cycloplex, is actually a hole in outer space. Happy, piloting the Space Observatory for the professor, flew in too close to the strange force. Now the observatory is being whirled closer and closer to disaster. Meantime, Commander Corey and Lieutenant Grayson, in Terror the Fifth, are trying desperately to find a way to save Happy and Professor Jelka.
Happy, is your repeller ray on full?
Yes, sir. All rockets on the starboard side and stern as well.
The observatory is being pulled faster than ever toward the cycloplex.
Jelka never should have ordered Happy to go so close.
Those observatories have a very low power ratio in proportion to their mass, Grayson. We can only give it a boost with our own power.
You mean make magnetic contact with the observatory?
Yes.
Great idea, Commander.
You realize what'll happen if we fail?
I'm waiting your orders, Commander.
Then let's go. You handle the magnetic holding field, Grayson.
Yes, sir.
Commander, what are you doing?
Going to tow you away from the cycloplex.
Don't try it, sir. There's some sort of a whirlpool effect. A vortex, the professor calls it.
Terra 5 may have enough power to pull itself and the observatory out of danger.
But, sir, you
The
can't.
sooner we act, the better chance we'll all have. Stand by for orders.
Standing by, sir.
We're ready to make contact, Happy. Grayson, apply magnetic holding field.
Yes, sir.
All right, Happy. Keep the observatory rockets on full power.
Yes, sir.
We're going to increase our own power slowly at first. We won't try to fight the cycloplex force too strongly. We'll cut across at a tangent, understand?
Yes, Commander.
Here we go.
Is it working, Commander?
I can't tell yet. Happy.
Yes, sir.
As I increase the ship's power, it'll put a terrific strain on the hull of the observatory. Watch for any sign of damage.
I will, Commander.
There's that sound again. What is it?
It's coming from the spaceophone system. Happy, do you hear it?
Yes, sir. You're picking it up from the professor's instruments. He says it's caused by the cycloplex.
Commander, our vector's changing. We're moving away from the cycloplex.
We'll add a little more power. Happy, did the professor turn off his instruments?
No, sir.
Then we're free of the cycloplex pull.
That's right, sir. We're swinging away in the other direction.
Good. Wow, what a relief. Happy, we'll proceed several DUs away from this position until we're sure we're safe before we break contact.
Yes, sir.
Then we'll join space locks and come aboard the observatory. Got it?
Yes, Commander. I'll maintain vector till further orders.
Check. Corey out.
Come in, Commander.
How did the observatory stand up under that pull?
Well, apparently quite well.
Smoking rockets, Commander. For a while there, I thought we were all going to plunge right into the core of that cycloplex.
I thought so too, Happy. Professor, did you manage to find out anything about this phenomenon?
Very little. Although it did finally activate some of the instruments.
Exactly what is it, this force?
I can't say. Apparently this vortex, the whirlpool effect, is some sort of an electromagnetism. And that might account for its effect on the instruments.
And this whirlpool effect extends beyond the core.
Yes, it draws the objects into the center if they get too close.
We sure found that out.
And we also know that this force is moving steadily toward Mars.
They've got to get busy and do something.
Is this cycloplex big enough to swallow a whole planet?
What about that, Professor?
Well, the core itself is fairly small, but with that vortex of force around it, it might easily demolish Mars. Certainly, it would make it unlivable.
Well, how can we fight this cycloplex? Every force we know of has some other force that can oppose it.
But this thing is from some other dimension, Commander. It's an intruder into our space-time system.
You mean it isn't even from another galaxy? From another part of our space?
Yes, it's completely new to us, Cadet.
It's impossible to imagine dimensions beyond the three we know: length, breadth, and thickness. Professor, you mentioned that it has some sort of magnetic effect.
That's right.
Suppose we could produce a powerful magnetic force to oppose it.
that would take more power than any planet power system could produce. And how could we transfer it here?
Professor, you've heard of Huddleston's ring, haven't you?
Yes. Very interesting effect.
What's Huddleston's ring, sir?
It makes use of an effect that occurs at temperatures close to absolute zero.
Oh, like those of outer space?
Exactly. Extremely low temperatures, some metals become superconductors of electricity.
Superconductors?
They have no resistance to the flow of current.
That means if a current is started in a ring made of a superconducting material, it flows indefinitely.
Even when the power's cut off?
Right. And if the power is constantly applied, the current builds up. It increases more and more.
Oh, I see.
A scientist named Huddleston has been conducting experiments with a giant ring in outer space near Jupiter.
Yes. He has a laboratory spaceship in the center of the ring.
Suppose that Huddleston turns the power on full, charging that ring and the magnets around it, and keeps the power on. Would it destroy the cycloplex?
Perhaps it would be dangerous. A magnetic force of incredible intensity would be built up. There is no telling.
Professor, I want to send Huddleston's ring into that cycloplex. Under robot control, naturally.
Well, Professor, do you think it would work?
I don't know. But it's a challenging experiment. If it did, it would prove that electromagnetism is a force common to all dimensions of existence.
Right now, I'm not interested in proving any theory. I want to save Mars. Happy, let's get back to Terra 5. I want to contact Huddleston.
Cycloplex seems to be moving steadily toward Mars, Commander.
Keep the ship moving with it, Grayson. Keep that black circle right in the center of the sun.
Yes, sir.
Major Robertson, Space Patrol Headquarters, Terra, calling Commander Corey aboard Terra 5.
I'll take it. Happy to hand me that vector analysis, please.
Here you are, sir.
Corey, here, Robbie, go ahead.
We've contacted Huddleston, Commander. He's all enthused over the idea.
Oh, good. How long will it take him to get the ring on the way? Or does he have to convert the controls to robots?
No, a robot unit was built into the ship. Huddleston's in the ring waiting for your instructions.
Well, here's the procedure, Robbie. Huddleston will pull out of the orbit around Jupiter under manual control.
Check.
When he's on the vector, which I give you in a minute, a Space Patrol cruiser will pick him up in space. Huddleston will handle the ring and its lab ship by remote control until we pick it up on our view scope.
Got it, Commander.
Then I'll take control of the ring from that point on. Okay, Robbie. Now, here's the vector I want you to relay to Huddleston.
Nothing on the view scope yet, sir.
Widen the scanning arc, Happy. The lab ship may be slightly off vector.
Yes, sir.
Commander.
Yes, Grayson.
Cycloplex seems to be increasing velocity.
Any change in vector?
No, sir.
I'll check with Professor Jelka. Corey to Jelka in observatory.
Jelka here. Go ahead, Commander.
Lieutenant Grayson reports an increase of velocity by the cycloplex.
He's right, Commander. My calculations confirm it.
Is it still heading toward Mars?
Yes, Commander.
Is there any possibility of its changing direction?
I'm afraid its motion is unpredictable. We don't know enough about it.
Well, that's all, Professor. Thank you.
Commander, look at the view scope. I never saw an image like that before.
It isn't very clear, Happy. See if you can get rid of that blur.
I'll try it, sir. No, sir. That's as clear as I can get it.
I'll check with Robbie. Commander Corey to Major Robertson.
Robertson here. Go ahead, Commander.
We've picked something up in the view scope, but it doesn't look like Huddleston's ring and lab ship.
You got a blurred blotch?
Yes.
Now, that's the ring, Commander. I've been tracking it from Jupiter. Huddleston says your screen's blur is a tremendous magnetic force.
Right, Robbie. I'm ready to take over control of the ring. It's now 14:20 and 15 seconds, universal start time. Tell Huddleston the switchover will occur at 14:21. Corey out.
The ring's approaching very fast, Commander.
The robot control panel's ready, sir.
Fine, Grayson. Happy you take over our controls.
Yes, sir.
Grayson, feed the viewscope data into the vector computer.
Yes, sir.
I want to get the ring headed for the target as soon as possible after switchover. It might be hard to control if that magnetic force builds up much higher.
10 seconds to switch over.
Trajectory computed, Commander.
Thanks, Grayson.
5 seconds. 3, 0.
Now we'll find out if we've got the ring under control. Watch the viewscope, Grayson. See if the ring turns in the new vector.
It's responding, Commander.
Good. It's heading straight for the cycloplex now. Nothing to do but wait and hope it works. A few more seconds, we'll know.
Yeah, Huddleston's ring is practically in the outer field of the vortex now.
Nothing's happening, though.
Wait. The blur on the lab ship seems to be dimming.
It's as though the cycloplex were choking down the magnetism.
Look, you can see the outline of the ring now, and the lab ship.
I'm afraid it's not going to work, Commander. The power of the cycloplex is too strong.
Wow, look at that. The lab ship just flew apart.
The ring is still intact.
The blur's building up again.
Magnetic force pulled the ship apart.
The ring's in the black circle now. Golly, something's happening.
It's a battle of magnetic forces.
The black circle is growing smaller.
It sure is. It's shrinking.
And rapidly. If that ring can hold up long enough...
The cycloplex is just a black dot. It's gone. The cycloplex is gone, Commander. It worked.
Whew. Look at the viewscope, man. Huddleston's ring is still there.
Thanks to you, Commander, it saved a planet.
It took all of us. Enter the story in our logbook, Happy.
Yes, sir.
What a mission to describe. We've just filled in a hole in empty space.
Hey, maybe I should make the log entry in invisible ink.
We'll be back with an exciting preview of next week's thrilling Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. Hey, it's got things popping everywhere. It's setting the world on fire. It's even stopping traffic. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the Space Patrol Spaceophone, and I'm going to tell you how to get a set. A set complete with 2 spacephones, 50 feet of communication cord, and an official briefing sheet on spacephoning. What an offer! What an invention! The magic phone you can carry everywhere. Sounds like the walkie-talkie in the telephone. Barrels of fun. You can talk to someone standing a straight 50 feet away. Now, I'll show you with this spaceophone here. Hello, Commander Corey.
Hi, Dick. Hi, gang. Aren't these spacephones terrific? You can play Space Patrol with them just as though you were a real space patroller living up here on Terra.
Yes, sir, gang. Your spaceophone will look exactly like the one space patrollers use. Only yours will be even more terrific because they're a special model made for use on Earth alone. And good-looking, too. Handsome blue and yellow plastic.
Now, don't wait. Send for your spaceophone set today.
Complete with 2 spacephones, 50 feet of cord, and a briefing sheet. Now, here's all you do. Buy a box of Instant Ralston. Then, with your name and address, send 25 cents in coin and an Instant Ralston box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, an action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol story. Buzz and Happy have been captured by 2 criminals and are aboard a relay space station near the Pluto orbit. While the criminals are removing a secret power unit, Buzz and Happy are locked in a passageway looking for some method of escape.
The lights. What happened to the lights?
They must have disconnected the Cosmolite power unit.
They'll be coming through the passage in a minute to get us, Commander.
They won't need to, Happy. Stecker has already figured out how he's going to get rid of us.
How?
When they get back into their ship, they're going to leave the relay station airlock open.
What?
In a few seconds, this passage will be a complete vacuum. Every bit of air will escape into space.
Be sure to be with us next Saturday for the exciting story, The Glowworm Project, when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again bring you Space Patrol! And now, a special message from Commander Corey.
Boys and girls, this is your commander. I'm now holding an important bottle. When empty, it's worth very little. When filled, it's the most valuable bottle in the world. I mean, when it's filled with the greatest gift one person can give to another, his own blood. America has millions of these bottles to fill, and any grown-up can fill them. So, gang, will you help me get that message across to every grown-up in the USA? Then do this. Join the Space Patrol Blood Boosters now.
Space Patrol, an original Mike Moser production starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, directed by Larry Robertson. Other players were Bela Kovac, Ken Mayer, Dick Beals, and Norman Jolly. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again present the new exciting Space Patrol. And be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol story on your local ABC television station. Consult your... Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed adventure, Buzz and Happy are in their spacesuits, investigating a gigantic 6-wheeled atomic digging machine on the planet Mercury. As they walk across the deeply cracked ground in 300-degree heat, the huge machine starts moving toward them with increasing speed.
They're trying to run us down with the machine, Commander.
Get to the ship, Happy.
It's hard to run in these bulky suits. Maybe we can dodge the driller.
Don't try it. The driller's big, but it can turn like a cat.
It's gaining on us.
Don't look back. Run.
Hey!
Quick, Hap, on your feet.
My foot's caught the crevice.
Give me your hand.
No, you sir. I can't get loose. I'm caught. Commander, get away, please, while you can. The driller's almost on top of us.
We'll be back in just a moment with today's Space Patrol story, The City of the Sun. Hey, gang, listen to this poor old rocket ship here at the Lunar Fleet Base. You know what the trouble is? That rocket's trying to run on ordinary fuel. Now, here's that same rocket ship loaded with super fuel. Now, that's what I call a real blast-off. And boys and girls, to get a bright and snappy start, you need super fuel, too, especially in the morning. So start your day with a breakfast that supercharges you. A nourishing breakfast with a checkerboard super cereal, like Rice Chex. Triple crisp Rice Chex. Triple crisp because it's toasted 3 times. And oh boy, is Rice Chex delicious. Makes breakfast sparkle, that's how good it is. Rice Chex. Golden shredded rice biscuits in that modern bite-sized design for easy eating. So remember, gang, to start off bright and snappy in the morning, eat a nourishing breakfast with a checkerboard super cereal and get supercharged. Today, try your spoon out on Rice Chex. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy are on the planet Mercury, organizing Space Patrol units into a search for Professor Mallison, whose spaceship vanished on the dark side of the planet. But now, a second emergency on another part of Mercury sends Buzz and Happy racing to the hot side of the tiny planet, to Solaria, the city of the sun.
Who's behind the sabotage, sir?
I don't know, Happy. That's what we've got to find out. But I've got a pretty good idea what the motive is.
What's that, sir?
Solaria has suddenly become very important because of the mineral deposits that have been found about 60 miles south of the city.
South? That means it's hotter than the Solaria area. Well, how do they work it?
With robot-controlled mining equipment operated from Solaria. And with spacesuits, a few technicians can work in 2-hour shifts on the mining site itself.
Oh, and whoever sabotaged the power plant doesn't want those mining operations to continue.
And probably cuts into their own source of revenue.
I suppose this is more important, but I sure would have liked to locate Professor Mallison first.
We've got the search units well organized, Happy. They'll comb the entire dark side of Mercury with infrared viewscope scanners.
Well, do you think the professor could still be alive, sir?
He's been missing over 4 days. That would be a long time to hold out in sub-zero temperature on the dark side of the planet.
Well, how about the spaceophone signal picked up yesterday, though? That was from Mallison, wasn't it?
It was his code, all right. But it was an automatic signal. It could have been sent from one of the small rockets Mallison had aboard his ship. When released, it automatically sends back information on cosmic radiation, temperature, and Mercury's own magnetic field.
Oh, that's what Mallison was studying?
Yes. Even if we locate the rocket, it wouldn't mean it's anywhere near Mallison's ship. A commercial spaceship picked the signal up briefly, just for a few seconds. All they got was Mallison's identification code and the temperature. 122 degrees below zero.
Yeah, which could mean that Mallison released the rocket several days ago and it landed on the dark side of the planet.
Right.
Commander, what's that? It looks like steam shooting out of the ground down there. Looks like a geyser.
Geyser on the hot side of Mercury? Happy, check our exact position. I don't like the looks of this.
Yes, sir.
I'll call Solaria Space Control. Corey and Terra 5 to Space Control Solaria. Corey and Terra 5 to Space Control Solaria.
Space Control Solaria to Commander Corey, Lieutenant Orris here.
Lieutenant, I'm flying low northeast of Solaria. My cadet and I have sighted something that looks like steam shooting out of the ground.
Steam, Commander?
Yes, I'll give you our position. Check it against the location of water conduits leading to the city.
Yes, sir.
Happy, got the data?
Yes, sir. We're 10 degrees, 27 minutes, 48 seconds south by 112 degrees, 51 minutes, 08 seconds east.
Got that, Lieutenant?
Yes, sir. I'll check it against the chart.
Commander, do you suppose it is a broken conduit?
I don't know what else it could be, Happy. Possibly a quake broke the pipe.
Commander, it looks like a broken conduit, all right. Solaria's main water supply line runs right through that point from melting and pumping station number 3 on the cold side of Mercury.
Better check with Solaria Water Control. See if they've noticed a drop in pressure.
Yes, sir. Thanks for telling us. If that's a bad break, we'll be in a tough spot here.
Is there a seismograph in Solaria?
I believe there is, sir.
I suggest you check the city engineering office. Have them contact other cities on the planet and see if there's been a quake in this area.
Yes, Commander.
We'll circle this vicinity to see if any further trouble develops. Report back when you get the information. Corey out.
Well, from the looks of that ground down there, sir, they must have a lot of quakes in this region.
You mean those deep cracks? Well, those were formed millions of years ago, Happy, when Mercury first began to dry out under the terrific heat.
Yeah, but with one side of the planet covered with ice and the other side with blistering heat, well, wouldn't there be a lot of quakes?
Well, as far as I know, there hasn't been a serious one reported in recent years. We'll keep circling till we hear from Solaria.
Can't we take it easy, Burdock? This is pretty rough ground.
Well, these atomic drillers weren't made for comfort, Grove. And I want to get plenty of distance between us and that broken water conduit.
We're going 70 with this thing. If we hit one of those cracks at the speed, we'll tip over.
Just quit worrying. We're riding on 6 wheels. And each of them are 20 feet in diameter. And every wheel has its own power drive. I think we're in more danger of being spotted by a space patrol ship than we are of upsetting this monster.
What do we do with the driller when we get to our spaceship?
We just leave it. It's pretty well camouflaged to blend in with this cracked yellow ground here. We can find it again if we need it.
You aren't planning to drill any more holes in the Solaria water supply, are you?
No, not right away. But this job will cause plenty of trouble.
You think they'll be able to repair it?
Probably. But with things like this happening, trouble with power and water, the rival companies are going to think twice about using Solaria as a base of operations.
Hey, Burdock, watch it! He nearly tipped us over.
Oh, just relax, Grove. We're almost to the ship.
Well, sir, it looks like the conduit broke in just that one place.
That's lucky, but even at that, it'll take several hours to get men and equipment out here to repair it.
Space Control Solaria calling Commander Corey aboard Terra 5.
Corey here. Go ahead, Lieutenant.
A maintenance crew is getting ready to leave Solaria now, Commander. They know the location.
Oh, good. We'll head for Solaria. What about the seismograph reports?
No quakes have been detected anywhere on Mercury, sir. The chief engineer doesn't understand how that conduit could have broken.
How's your water supply?
Pressure has dropped to less than a quarter of normal, sir. We're already on a strict water rationing. Nearly all industries have been ordered to shut down for 24 hours.
Will it take that long to repair the damage?
At least. Oh, Commander, Colonel Henderson thought you might be interested in a report on Professor Mallison.
Well, yes, I am. Have they found him?
No, sir. But another automatic signal was picked up by a cargo ship, apparently from a grounded instrument rocket. It isn't much help.
What do you mean?
It's sending inaccurate information. The cargo ship pilot got a rough fix before the signal stopped. It's on the hot side of Mercury, but the temperature data was 122 degrees below zero.
Same as the other report. The sending mechanism must have been damaged when the rocket landed.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Lieutenant. I'll contact you when we reach Solaria. Corey out. All right, Happy. Get on vector for Solaria.
Yes, sir.
Hey, wait a minute. Look down there on the ground.
What is it, Commander?
See those gouges? A sort of crisscross pattern.
Yeah, 2 rows of them.
They're tracks.
What would make tracks that far apart?
Some heavy earth-moving machinery, probably.
Oh, from when the conduit was laid.
I don't think so. Focus the viewscope toward the steam spout. There, see? The tracks end right near the place where the break is.
Say, that's right.
Follow those tracks in the other direction, Happy.
Hey, they lead away from Solaria.
Makes them interesting. Any surface equipment out here would be more likely to come from Solaria than anywhere else. We're going to find out where those tracks lead.
Just a few minutes more, Grove. Our ship's on the other side of the jagged butte.
I'll sure be glad to get out of this driller.
You're mighty peculiar, aren't you? You don't like spaceships either.
Who says I don't?
Well, didn't you get space sick the other day?
Well,
Or was it because I shut down that lab ship?
you shouldn't have done that, Burdock. He wasn't bothering us. He was on some scientific mission.
Well, it's just too bad. He came snooping around just as we blasted off from our hideout.
We didn't have a chance.
Don't be so squeamy. By acting quickly, we probably kept the Space Patrol from spotting us near the power relay station and... What's the matter?
The viewscope. It's a ship.
Yeah. It's flying low, right toward us.
Think they see us?
I don't know.
Hey, why'd you stop the driller?
Because if we're moving, they might spot us. But with the sides and top of the drill camouflage, they might not notice.
They went right over.
It's a Space Patrol ship. They must have spotted the break in the water line.
Yeah, but why were they going so slow?
How do I know? We'll just sit tight and see what they're up to.
Happy, look down there. The tracks stop.
It's hard to tell. The ground must be packed almost as hard as concrete in some places.
I'll circle back. Use the viewscope scanner.
Yes, sir. Uh-oh. Hey, there is something down there. A hump of something. A small hill, maybe.
Now look closer. Did you ever see a hill on wheels?
Yeah, I can see it now. It's a big piece of machinery, and it's camouflaged.
Happy, get our spacesuits out of the locker. I'm setting the ship down.
Yes, sir.
Check the refrigeration units in the suits carefully. We're going to be walking around in oven temperature down there.
They must have seen us. Why would they land their ship clear out here?
Just take it easy, Grove. We're safe in the driller. Nobody could get in unless we open the door.
Somebody's getting out of the ship. 2 men.
Hey, that's Stera 5. Come into Corey's ship.
If we don't open up, Corey will go back to his ship and report us. They'll send a crew out here with cutting torches.
If Corey gets back to the ship.
How can we stop him?
We'll stop him all right. You just wait and see.
Wow, now that we're on the ground, that machine looks enormous.
It's an atomic driller, Happy. The camouflage covers the drill part, but it's built to cover the toughest kind of terrain and drill through solid rock.
Yeah, then that's what happened to the water conduit. Drilling into the main would be simple for that machine.
It looks that way. Have your gun ready, Happy. Whoever's in there probably won't be too eager to answer questions.
Hey, Commander, it's moving.
They're making a getaway. Get back to the ship, Happy.
Yes, sir. Commander, it's coming toward us.
Run, Happy. They're trying to run us down.
It's hard to run in these bulky spacesuits. Maybe we can dodge the driller.
Don't try it unless you have to. That driller's big, but it can turn like a cat.
The ground's so full of cracks and ditches. Commander, it's gaining on us.
Don't look back. Run.
Hey!
Hap, on your feet, quick.
My foot's caught the crevice.
Give me your hand.
Run for it, Commander. They can't get both of us. You've got to get away.
No, give me your hand, Hap.
No, you, sir. I'm caught. Commander, look out. The driller's right on top of us. You've got to leave me.
We'll be back with Space Patrol in just a moment.
Space Patroller Dick Tufeld, gang. I've got a secret for you. Wait till I close the door. Okay? Now, here's a secret Buzz Corey wants you to know about. The secret of how space patrollers get a rip-roaring start in the morning. Now, here's what they do. They eat a breakfast that supercharges them. A good breakfast with one of the 3 checkerboard super cereals. Rice Chex, Wheat Chex, and Instant Ralston. Chex, they're the super cereals with that modern bite-sized design. The cereals with a swell new taste you'll like right off the reel. And to warm up your motor, there's Instant Ralston, the hot super cereal. Has a heart-of-the-wheat flavor that you'll really warm up to. So now you know how space patrollers get that rip-roaring morning start. Get a flying start yourself every morning, gang. Sit down to a nourishing breakfast with a checkerboard super cereal and get supercharged. Rice Chex, Wheat Chex, good hot Ralston, the super cereals. Flying low above the hot side of the planet Mercury, Buzz and Happy have sighted a gigantic atomic drilling machine. The driller is driven by Burdick and Grulf, who have bored a hole in the water conduit leading to Solaria, a city in the sun-baked Mercury desert. Buzz and Happy don spacesuits to investigate a cleverly camouflaged drilling machine. Suddenly, the driller started up, rolling across the cracked and fissured earth on its 6 giant wheels. Happy caught his foot in a large crack in the ground. And now, as Buzz tries to pull Happy free, the enormous driller roars down upon them.
It's no use, sir. It's still right after us. It's going to crush us.
Fall flat. Dive into that crevice quickly.
Yes, sir.
Happy, are you all right?
I guess so, sir. I'm half buried in the dirt.
Don't move yet. Stay down in the crevice until the driller's out of sight. We don't want them coming back to finish the job.
I sure thought we were goners when that big thing thundered over us.
We're lucky to find that crevice deep enough.
They're still going, I guess.
Yeah. Fortunately, they didn't stop to wreck our ship. That means they're sure they crushed us under the wheels.
The driller's completely out of sight now, sir.
All right, into the ship, Happy. We won't take time to get out of these suits till after we blast off and start our search for that drilling machine.
Well, here we are.
Here's your spacesuit, Burdock. Get into it and let's get to the ship.
I see you're all ready.
Yeah, all but the face piece.
You know, sometimes I get the impression you don't enjoy riding in a driller.
Let the funny stuff. Let's get out of here. How do we know Corey didn't send a space phone message before he got out of his ship?
You're right, Grove. But before we leave, I'm going to set a magnesium bomb and leave it in here.
What for?
I'll make sure that this drill is useless to anybody else. And it'll leave this cab in such a mess that the Space Patrol can't find any fingerprints.
All right. All right, but let's get at it.
There's something up ahead, sir. Looks like smoke.
You're right, Happy. It's the drilling machine that's on fire.
It's not moving. Hey, do you suppose whoever was in it got out?
Well, let's hope so. Wait a minute. By the color of the smoke, that must be magnesium. It must have been deliberately started to wreck the control mechanism.
But where's the driver?
Take a look at that scorched area on the ground a few yards from the driller.
A blast-off scar.
Uh-huh. Our driller operator had a spaceship hidden here. Turn on the viewscope, Happy. Maybe you can pick up a trace of him. And I'll contact Space Control Solaria. Commander Corey aboard Terra 5 calling Space Control Solaria. Commander Corey calling Space Control Solaria.
This is Space Control Solaria, Commander. Lieutenant Orr speaking.
Lieutenant, relay this bulletin to all Mercury Space Patrol units.
Yes, sir.
A spaceship of unknown type just blasted off from the vicinity of the broken water conduit. Interrogate all spaceborne private craft. Ground all suspicious ships and hold the occupants.
I'll relay that message, Commander. Can you give any sort of description of the ship?
No, we merely saw the blast-off scar. Looked like it was from a small space cruiser. That water main break was deliberately sabotaged. An atomic driller did the job.
Atomic driller?
Yes. We found it abandoned near the break. Tell Colonel Henderson I want investigators sent out to examine it. They'll need firefighting equipment.
Yes, sir.
Make an immediate check of all known atomic drilling machines on Mercury. Where they are and who has them.
Yes, Commander.
How's the water situation in Solaria?
It's even more serious than we thought, sir. We're setting up cargo ships to bring some in from other cities. Commander, a Venus-bound passenger ship reported seeing a wrecked lab ship south of Solaria. The pilot thought it might be Professor Mallison's ship.
South of Solaria? How far south?
15 DU, sir.
That's the hottest part of the planet. Even if the ship wasn't badly damaged by the crash, it looks bad for Mallison.
The same passenger ship also picked up Mallison's automatic code, sir. And another temperature report. 122 degrees below zero.
Below zero? That seems impossible. Have you sent any units to investigate?
Not yet, sir. Colonel Henderson...
Yes, I know. You've got problems of your own, Lieutenant. You give me the location of that crashed ship. I'll investigate it myself.
And 87 degrees, 16 minutes, 43 seconds west.
Good, I suppose that's a ship you shot down?
Shut up, Ilris. I got their frequencies, both of them.
Got it, Lieutenant. One more thing, Commander. The passenger ship pilot isn't sure, but he thought he saw something moving near the crashed ship. It doesn't seem likely.
No, it doesn't. But I'll get there as quickly as I can. Corey out.
Corey alive? Yeah, it was somebody else we ran over with the driller. Cut it off.
If that is the first ship you shot down, then there's someone still alive.
There couldn't be. That was 4 days ago. And even in the best space suit made, nobody could live 4 days in that heat.
What are we going to do?
We're going to make sure. Maybe we can get there before Corey does. And if not, we'll cut Corey's investigation short.
Murdoch, maybe we didn't kill those men with the driller. Maybe it was Corey and somebody else, and they escaped somehow.
Well, if he did, he wouldn't escape this time. You marked down those coordinates, didn't you?
Yeah, they're right here.
All right. I'll take the controls. You get on the view scope. We don't want to get close to another ship, especially Corey's.
We're nearly to the location, sir.
Drop her down a few thousand feet, Hap.
Yes, sir. Yeah, this part of Mercury looks even worse than where we were before. Rougher terrain.
Yes, and it's even hotter. Close to 500 degrees. Now, listen. Get that down, Hap.
Yes, sir. MLS 28.
Mercury Lab Ship 28. That's Mallison's identification code.
Temperature minus 122 degrees. Hey, it cut out.
Minus 122 degrees. I got a fix in that signal, Happy. It's almost directly below us. Look.
It's a cracked-up ship, all right. A lab job, too.
Get your spacesuit on, Happy.
Yes, sir.
Whatever we do, we've got to do it fast.
Hey, Commander, down there by that cliff. It's a man in a spacesuit.
That's incredible. He's waving to us. Stand by for repeller ray.
That's a lab ship, all right. Even in the viewscope, you can see it's pretty badly smashed up.
Yeah, but we're too late. Corey's ship is landing right near it.
What do we do?
He'll probably go in to find what's left of Mellison. When he does, we'll swoop down and blast the wreckage, and then shoot up Terra 5.
Better not get so low, Burdock. They may see us.
There's not much they can do about it. Anyway, I'm keeping between them and the sun. Nobody's going to look up at the sun, especially here on Mercury.
Wait a minute. They're running right past the ship. Where are they going?
Oh, maybe. Seeing something close to the cliff.
Burdock, it's a man. And he's alive.
After 4 days in the blast furnace down there, it's impossible.
See for yourself.
Must be Mellison. We've got to make sure that none of them get out of here. Get your spacesuits on, Grove.
We aren't going to land.
Not unless we have to. But I'm going to make sure that all 3 of them are finished before we leave here.
Check your suit spaceophone, Happy.
It's working okay, sir. And so's the temperature control.
And we'll need it. All right, open the outer hatch.
Allison's acting pretty strange, sir. He just stands over there and motions to us instead of coming toward us.
It's hardly a normal way to greet rescuers. Let's see if the spacesuit transmitter's working. Professor Mallison, this is Commander Corey. Can you read me?
He's just waving more excited than ever.
Professor, if you hear me, hold both hands over your head.
He's doing it.
Apparently he can hear us, but his transmitter's out.
I thought I heard something in the earphones just for a second, and another voice.
Professor, is there some reason why you want us to come over there? If there is, hold your hands straight out at your sides.
Yeah, that's what he wants us to do.
We better do as he asks. But how did he manage to survive in this heat?
Commander, it's a cave.
Yeah, I see.
Commander, can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, Professor.
My spaceophone wasn't working, so I couldn't answer you. Commander, you've got to look at this.
It's a happy surprise to find you alive, Professor. That spacesuit must be remarkably resistant to heat.
It isn't the suit that's responsible. Just look in here, where the beam from my atomolight is shining.
It just looks like an ordinary cave.
Further back, look at the walls.
You mean that shiny blue-black mineral?
Commander, that's ice.
Ice?
In this part of Mercury?
Right. Thousands of tons of it, perhaps millions.
And that's how you manage to stay alive. It's cool in the cave.
Yes, with 570 degrees outside. Inside, it's a constant 122 below zero.
And your automatic rocket transmitter was right.
Commander, do you realize what this underground ice means to Mercury? To the people of Solaria in particular?
You mentioned millions of tons.
A conservative estimate. Think how easily it could be melted and piped to Solaria. Only a matter of a few miles in comparison with the present haul of more than 1,000.
It certainly is a timely discovery. Dozens of conduits can be built from here to Solaria at a fraction of the cost of the one line that was broken.
A spaceship. Yeah, it must be a space patrol craft.
Let's get to our ship, Professor. Believe me, this news will be welcome in Solaria.
Well, what I don't understand is how all this ice could be underground in the hot part of Mercury.
The rock above insulates it. This is not a new phenomenon by any means. Why, on the planet Earth, more than 1,000 years ago, Indians in the Arizona desert used to get ice from a natural cavern such as this.
Hey, wait a minute. That's not a space patrol ship. It's a private cruiser.
You're right, sir. It's taxiing around on repeller ray.
I've seen that ship before. Why, it's the one that shot my lab ship down.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Hey, what's a crazy fool doing? He's backing the ship right toward the cave.
Better get out of here or he'll run over us.
He's got something worse than that in mind. He's seen us and doesn't want us to get out.
Well, maybe he's just backing up to get room to blast off between here and the opposite wall of the canyon.
Up in your life. Quickly, get out of the cave. He's going to put his stern in here and turn on his rocket blast. It's lucky we saw him in time to get out of the cave. Now get behind this rock. Maybe he won't see us from the ship.
Hey, you're right, Commander. He's pushing the tail of his ship back in the cave with blasts from his forward rocket.
Really intends to see that we don't get away from here. But keep close to the rock. I think we'll be safe here.
Hey, he's keeping his forward rockets on to hold the ship in the cave.
Something tells me he's going to regret this.
Wow, the ship's wrecked.
It shot right across the canyon into the opposite wall.
His hand must have slipped off the controls.
No, Happy. The heat from his rocket exhaust turned the ice into steam, and it popped the ship out of the cave like a cork.
We'd better get over there, Commander. They may be badly hurt.
If they haven't got spacesuits on, they haven't a chance.
Commander, I see somebody getting out. Yeah, there are two of them.
And they do have spacesuits on.
Let's get them. By their attitude, I don't think we'll have any trouble.
No, sir. You know, during the last few minutes, sir, I really realized what a wonderful thing water is.
That's so?
Yes, sir. In the form of ice, it saved Professor Mallison's life. And when those two fellows turned it into steam, it simply cooked their goose.
An exciting preview of next week's new Space Patrol adventure after this important question. Have you sent for your Space Patrol spaceophone yet? You better hurry! Yes, sir, this sensational offer is soon going to end. And you don't want to be left without one of these thrilling new spaceophone sets, do you? No, sirree. So, hurry! More fun. You can talk back and forth on the spaceophone to someone a straight 50 feet away. Just like talking on the telephone. Complete with two spaceophones, 50 feet of communication cord, and secret briefing sheet. Now remember, these are official spaceophones, made especially for you on Earth. Real beauties, too. Gleaming blue and yellow plastic. Look exactly like the spaceophones Buzz Corey and the gang use. So don't wait a single day. Hurry!
Yes, sir, you have to hurry, because this offer soon comes to an end. To get the complete Space Patrol Spaceophone set, do this. Buy a box of Instant Ralston. Then, with your name and address, send 25 cents in coin and an Instant Ralston box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. This offer good only in continental U.S. and may be withdrawn at any time. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now for a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol story. Buzz and Happy have just entered a spaceship in Neptune City Spaceport in search of a traitor against the United Planets. They pause in the open hatch a moment.
He may be up forward, tampering with the controls.
Wrong guess, gentlemen.
Commander, look out!
Here we are, Cadet. I've got a ray gun.
Yeah, well, I've got it.
I warned you.
Carter, put down that gun.
Don't try to get to your feet, Commander.
What are you doing in this ship?
Preparing it for its last voyage. There's an explosive hidden aboard. Time to go off 2 hours after blastoff. And you, my friend, will be aboard.
Be sure to be with us next Saturday for the exciting story, The Queen of Space.
Boys and girls, this is your commander. Do you know how life-giving oxygen is carried to the cells of the body? By the bloodstream. So when a person loses a great deal of blood in an accident or in sickness, there's not enough blood left to do that job. Result? The person dies. So, will you help me save lives by joining the Space Patrol Blood Boosters? It's fun, it's patriotic. So join the Space Patrol Blood Boosters today.
Space Patrol, an original Mike Moser production starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston and directed by Larry Robertson. Other players were Ken Mayer and Norman Jolly. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again present the new exciting Space Patrol. And be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol story on your local ABC television station. Consult your local paper for